From a six-bed shared house in Croydon to a millionaire-scaling global brands on Amazon, Jason Kwau's story is one of grit, purpose, and unshakable faith. In today's episode, we're joined by a man who turned rejection, redundancy, and rock bottom into a multi-million-pound business. Jason opens up about the real moments behind the headlines, from being kicked out of school and nearly stabbed at university, to risking it all with his pregnant wife by his side. This isn't just a story about making money. It's about making meaning. About becoming self-made, not just in business, but in character, resilience, and legacy. If you've ever felt behind in life, if you've ever wondered if it's too late or if your dreams are too big, this episode is for you. Welcome to Life Campus Podcast.
I picked up that first book and honestly, I felt like it opened up a whole new world to me. And it's almost like traveling. Once your mind expands, you cannot shrink it back down to where it is. And you hear this about people who go to prison. They go to prison, they read books, they come outside and they're like a completely different person. Because the way I used to see it, it's like every book that I read, every page is equal to £1. So if I think about all the books that I've read, probably a million pages. I don't know if it's true or not. 300 books. I might have to do the maths.
Okay, Jason, thank you very much for joining me today. I'm really excited about our conversation. I saw your news yesterday, and I started doubting that you will join me today because I know after a news like that, you're probably going to be really busy. So I appreciate I appreciate your time. I appreciate your time for taking your time to from your busy schedules to come and talk to me. I guess before I get too excited, it will help our audience to know a little bit about yourself. So if you could introduce yourself, tell me your name and what you do.
All right. Barbara, first of all, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I find it a really pleasurable experience to be able to share my life experience with people and tell them a bit about myself, and hopefully my story inspires people and it shows them that if I can do it, then they can do it too. So I always, when I speak to my wife, I say I'm just a humble boy from Croydon, and if you're from London, South London, Croydon, though, it's bad.
Yeah.
So much so that when I first came to England and my dad said we're going to London, I thought London, grandiose. I'm thinking this is amazing. Then I got to Croydon, I was like, what is
What
this?
is going on?
Bro, the maddest part is within like 1 or 2 months of us being there, the Croydon riots happened, and I'm seeing buildings being burned down, and there's so much going on there. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
what a
So
place.
where were you coming from then?
So I was in the Netherlands before that. I was
Oh,
over
right. Oh, okay.
there. I
Then
was lived there.
yeah, I think I had a similar experience when I came, because I came to the UK when I was 19. I was born and bred in Zimbabwe, and when I was
Ah,
19, and you've got this picture of London, isn't it? Like, wow, it's
100%.
London, and then you get here, you're like, oh, okay, all right.
Exactly.
Um,
It's very different from what you see.
yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
So in terms of work-wise, what do you do, Jason?
So work-wise, currently me and my partner, we run our own agency. So we help brands grow and scale online. We help them scale on Amazon primarily. But as of recently, because of everything we've been doing in the social media space, people have been reaching out to us saying, "Hey, can you help us with our social media?" And yeah, we're taking the opportunity on board. So that is one of our new ventures that we're currently going into.
Okay. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting, because I connected with you on LinkedIn. I saw your post, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. Let me have a look, and
Well,
I wasn't disappointed. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So obviously, I always want to understand where it all started. You
Ah,
said you were coming from the Netherlands. I take it you were born there in the
yeah,
Netherlands. Okay,
one,
so when you were growing up in the streets of Netherlands, people
yeah.
were asking you what you want to do when you grow up. What was your answer?
Oh gosh. I think when I was in Netherlands and people were asking me what do I want to be when I grow up, one of the things I used to say, or actually, my dad used to ask me, and I just used to tell him I don't know. And I remember he said specifically to me, at your age, how could you not know what you want to be?
Yeah.
But I did know what I wanted to be. I just knew that if I tell him I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be a doctor, accountant, he's not going to be happy. So, you know, I'd rather tell him I don't know. But
Yeah.
I remember in school, one of my friends would ask me, "What do you want to be?" And then to him, I would say, "I just want to be rich." Um,
Okay.
he would ask me, "How are you going to be rich?" And I would say to him, "I don't know, but all I have to do is make 1 pound a million times, and I'm sure there's a million ways to make 1 pound." So that was just
Wow.
my answer back then.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. That's really an interesting way of looking at things. Just yeah, 1 pound a million times, and you're there.
exactly,
Uh,
literally. Yeah.
okay, so your dream did come true,
Mm.
and
So,
that is why I was so excited when I said I didn't think you would be joining me today because this
yeah,
the news just broke yesterday, isn't it? I saw in the Sun, the Sun
mm,
newspaper, and also the Daily Mail
yeah,
your current your company at the moment was evaluated in this a million worth is that right is that right did I get that right so
yeah.
can I say then that I'm talking to a millionaire, can I say that?
Yeah, it's safe to say. I mean, the million split between me and my wife, the Bible says the two shall become one. So,
That listen, congratulations man, that is exciting, that is exciting, and I think what I do here at Life Campus podcast is to my audience is try and get my audience to understand that there are things that we think are out of our reach,
mm,
but that's us limiting ourselves. And when we
100%.
sit down with industry experts and we sit down with people like you who have built a business from scratch to a
Hmm.
million, uh, we then we're trying to help them to realize that this is possible. And you are a prime example of coming from nothing to building something that big. It's possible. So I think what we want to do today is just to understand things like the mindset. What do you what kind of mindset do you have? Because obviously from what you told me, you had this dream from a very young age,
Yeah.
and you wanted to make it somewhere somehow. You wanted to make it. Okay, so let's start by your organization is about you started I think selling on Amazon at some point when you is it when you moved to Croydon.
So actually, when I dropped out of university, that's when I
Mm,
started selling on Amazon. Yeah.
mm. Okay. What got you into that? How did you get into that?
Yeah, certainly. So, I was actually doing door-to-door sales, fundraising,
Mm,
back in the days, and it was a hard job, when it's raining, you're still out there in your jacket, wet. I remember it was one moment where I realized this job is actually so cool because I remember one time I was so wet, I
mm.
just put a plastic bag, I put it on top of my head or something, and I knocked on the door, and the woman opened the door, and she's like, "Just because you make me laugh, I'm gonna sign up." And I thought, oh, there's certain things like your
Yeah.
personality that you can sell and you can market and you can put across. But just going door to door, it felt very manual. And I
Mm,
thought to myself, surely there's a better way to do this. And I wanted to get into the online space. I thought, we're doing charity door to door, but why am I wasting my time going outside to go ahead and tell people to sign up for this charity when I can just do one video ad and I can put
mm,
it on YouTube and people can click it, they can skip it. It doesn't,
mm,
it costs some money, but it saves me having to be wet. It's maybe it's cold, maybe it's hot or whatever.
mm,
I was really good at the job, but it didn't make sense to me. So I proposed this to one of the managers, and
mm,
they said to me, I think they basically laughed at me. It was like, this is nonsense, or we don't do this type of stuff. I thought, okay, cool. I was at one point not getting the numbers I wanted to. I was like, okay, I think this is my sign. I need to quit. Um, I was at university at this time. I just met my wife, who was then my girlfriend.
Mm.
I went home to Croydon. I was falling in love with the idea of entrepreneurship, and I could see kids online making money. I could tell there's real potential there. I don't know if it
Mm.
was they were actually making money or not, but they were saying they're making money, and
Yeah.
I just knew I have to figure this out. If they're children and they can figure this out, I can do
Have
it
to.
too. Like, I just had so much belief. Like even if what they're saying is not true,
I have
I
to
know
try.
someone makes money online, and
Mm.
it's my one job to just figure out how I can do it too. So
Okay.
I went home. I didn't think about it for a long time. Started working at Pizza Hut, and at Pizza Hut, um, I was so busy. I would always order stuff on Amazon. And then I thought to myself, I if I'm buying all these things on Amazon, and sometimes I'm even paying more than what I know the item is worth, I can get it for cheap on some shop or even on eBay. If I'm paying more for it on Amazon, why? It's because they ship it to you the next day. It's very convenient. And yeah, that led me down the rabbit hole of like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna study Amazon. I'm gonna dedicate myself to Amazon. Start working less shifts at work so I can study. I'll be working part time. I'll take holiday, whatever I needed to do to just study, and then I eventually launched my first product. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think 6 years later, here we are.
Yeah. 6 years down the line, we are here now. But
Mm,
I think from what you said, from starting from going door to door,
yeah,
and realizing, okay, yes, I'm doing this, I'm good at it, but it
yeah,
can be better.
yeah,
And also looking at, okay, I'm buying things on Amazon, and
yeah,
other people are selling on Amazon. Why
yeah,
why am I not doing the same?
yeah,
It looks like your way of thinking is always looking at how can I make things better
yeah.
in whatever you are doing. So
100%.
I'm seeing that line of thinking in
Yeah.
in what you are saying there, which brings me to the mindset. We need to understand your mindset. Okay, so
Mm,
I take it things have not always been flowing nicely for you.
mm,
There, I looked when I read in the article, it talked about the time when you're in school,
mm.
you were excluded at some point, and you also went to university, but you did 1 year at university and you dropped
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And there's also like a story about you nearly getting stabbed.
Yeah.
What was going on? What was it back then?
Um, you know what? You really bringing that up made me teary. I never really felt teary talking about this. So it's interesting. Let's unpack it and let's see where we get to.
Mm,
But I think when I first moved to the UK, I think I was maybe 14, maybe 12, but it was like the teenage stage, and you got the hormones going on, and there's stuff going on. Like I had a girlfriend back home in Holland. We had to break up, or she broke up with me. She said I was childish. I went to school. I was hanging around with the wrong crowd.
was.
I was doing things that I shouldn't necessarily be doing, like in hindsight. And in my mind, I still thought I'm a good kid. But when I look back, I was actually doing a lot of negative things, negative habits.
Mm,
You might do something wrong, you might lie, and you think I'm a good person, but now you're lying, then you're lying again, now you're stealing, now you're going to places you shouldn't be going to. And these small things add up, especially when you're hanging around with the wrong people. Before you know it, you know, one
into
that
next thing.
bunch, that group, will affect you or affect your life. And that's what ended up happening to me. I ended up getting kicked out of school, misbehaving.
Mm,
One time I was even trying to sneak out of school, and just because I really didn't want to be there. I just wanted to be out with my friends. And yeah. But when I got kicked out of school, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a bad thing, because one thing I love about life is whether something is good or whether something is bad, it really and truly just depends on me.
mm,
Because when I then got kicked out of school, I had to learn for myself. I had to study for myself because I still wanted good grades. I was still a smart kid. I was actually quite smart. That when I was in Ghana, I lived in Ghana for a while. I used to get awards constantly for spectacular behavior or spectacular
mm,
grades. So I always had that identity. So I took my book. I was studying. They kicked me out. I was studying. I was learning because I knew I can learn this myself. I don't need a school. It's nice to be in a school because you have teachers, they give you the structure and everything. But I always felt self-sufficient. So I studied and I went back to school. I got three A stars, which is the best grade I've ever got. And the
Mm.
only reason I was able to get that grade is because they kicked me out. And I said to myself, I'm going to prove to you guys why you're wrong as to why you shouldn't have kicked me out. So I had that drive. Like even when on my post, I put my teachers who
I
kicked me out.
saw that.
I really mean it. If they didn't kick me out, I would have just been a normal guy, I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
But them kicking me out, it gave me a fire. And in that moment, I realized if I want to do anything, it's my responsibility. I have to put in the time, I have to put in the effort. And yeah, I went to school. I went to college. I was just following my friends, ended up going to university, still following my friends. And then, they were doing some bad stuff. I ended up getting into an argument with one guy. I don't think it was severe. It was literally just a silly argument. But it got to the point where this guy hated me so much, he actually brought out a knife and he wanted to stab me. He
Wow.
wanted to fight me. I really didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, um,
That's an interesting childhood right there. But
yeah,
I think what you said in terms of ownership, you got kicked out of school,
yeah,
but you took things in your own hands. It's like, you know what, I can do this on my own. I have to prove people that I can do
yeah,
this. And you went and actually did it.
on,
On your own, you passed. You managed to go to university. Obviously, the behaviors didn't go straight away. So when do you think you became serious about life and realizing that, you know what, I actually want to build a business, or yeah, to get into business?
So interestingly enough, I think that stabbing moment was like one of the best things that could have ever happened to me, and I
Mm.
say it every single day. I think um, that moment. I remember I was in my room. Actually, I had a few friends around me, but like I was so in shock that whoa, my life could have literally ended in this moment, and I don't know. I felt so alone, even though there was people around me, and I don't know. I felt I went into like a mini depression, but I snapped out of it really quickly because I don't know. It was one of those moments like when I got kicked out of school. I realized this happened. It's probably because of me. I did something wrong. I got myself into the situation. What can I do right? And I vowed to myself in that moment, every single thing I'm gonna do is gonna have a positive effect. This is emotional for me because I haven't even thought about this much. But everything I'm gonna do is gonna have a positive effect. It's gonna inspire people. It's gonna make people happy. If I
Mm.
make money, they make money. Everything is just gonna be positive. And I picked up a book, and it was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he's saying, people do illegal things thinking they want to make money, but it's so easy to make money in a legal way. And it, I even did a post on Facebook where I wrote like, I just read this book now. My life is going to change. I just don't know how it's going to change, but
Mm.
this is the moment that my life changes. And yeah, change it certainly did change.
I saw on one of your posts that you read about 300 books now, which is very impressive.
Yeah.
And you already mentioned one of them now. So
Mm.
I guess my question is, what role has books played in the person that you have become now, the person you are now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So to answer that question, I want to go a bit back because
Mm.
I remember my dad always used to say to me, "You
Mm.
guys should read books." He used to say to me and my brother, and I'd never picked up a book until that moment. Um, or actually, when I got kicked out of school and I had to read by myself. But this was like me reading for me, not because anyone else told me or because I need to get any grade. It was me reading for me. So I picked up that first book, and honestly, I felt like it opened up a whole new world to me. And it's almost like traveling. Once your mind expands, you
Mm.
cannot shrink it back down to where it is. And Do you hear this about people who go to prison? They go to prison, they read books, they come outside, and they're like a completely different person. Because the way I used to see it, it's like every book that I read, every page is equal to £1. So
Mm,
if I think about all the books that I've read, probably a million pages. I don't know if it's true or not. 300
mm,
books, I might have to do the maths, give or take. But it really is true because I read one book, Richest Man in Babylon, and he talks about the rules of how to build wealth. And
mm,
there was one idea in there. He said, lend money to people and then take the interest back, and take interest from that. So I was doing like a loan shark business or something like that. Someone said when I told them, but really, I just got this concept from the book. I'm like, let me try it out. Some older woman came to me. She wanted to borrow maybe £100 or something. I was like,
mm.
okay, as long as you give me £10 back. And then that £10 was paying for my phone bill. So I was like, wow, this is
It's
amazing.
working. Yeah.
Literally. And I did that for a few months, and I was always looking at like, how can I make more money? How can I sell and make more money? So the books have been absolutely solid, absolutely amazing. It's opened up my vision. It's opened up my mind. Things that I didn't even think were possible. It made it very possible because you see someone who's done it. And I think now in our world right now, I wouldn't even just say you just need books, even podcasts, like me speaking right now.
Yeah.
Someone like me back in those days, I got kicked out of school, can now watch this podcast and be like, hey, he's like me,
Yeah.
and get all the lessons from it. So I would say it's about self-educating, constantly self-educating. Because people think I've gone to school, I've got this degree, now I'm smart. But what do you do after that degree? What are you investing your time in after that? That's the
Yeah.
most.
And now you can go on YouTube, you watch a podcast like this one, and now you know what a millionaire looks like. And there, there you go. So listen, there's a lot. I think what I encourage my listeners to do is to put in the work. So
Mm,
I can talk to someone like you,
mm,
and you give us advice, you give us guidance,
mm,
but if we can just listen to it, but if you don't put it into practice, it's
mm,
just time wasted, isn't it? So you
100.
have to actually invest time into building and using the resources that you are getting from places like this. Okay. So out of the 300 books that you have read, if you are to suggest just three to
Yeah.
someone who's thinking of starting their journey into maybe starting their business, which
Yeah.
three would you choose?
That's a good question. So I might pick different sections, different genres, because I think being a holistic reader is very important.
Mm.
Um, so the first book I would actually pick would be The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. It's by a guy called Vishen Lakhiani, and in this book he teaches you how the world is shaped. He almost calls it like a there's the factor of like when you're just a human being and you're not conscious of that you can think differently. You're following the people. Just follow the leader type of stuff. And
Okay.
he teaches, you can break away from that. And then the second level is like you realize, oh, I can actually create my own world. And then you create yourself. You almost create your own avatar, like who you want to be. And then you have another circle in there where it's like you realize I can actually influence the world with what I want to do. Like my thoughts, I can create into like a reality, and it's really interesting. It's like a holistic book. It's very special to me.
Okay.
Um, then there's I want to say the richest no, Rich Dad Poor Dad, because that book was so influential to me when I started my journey. Rich Dad Poor Dad, because I felt like there were certain rich habits that I did not know existed. Like for example, just go to school, get grades so you can get a good job.
Yeah.
Uh, why don't you learn, read, study so you can build your own business and you can give other people jobs? It teaches you like the flip side of the equation, which is absolutely phenomenal. And then lastly, uh, I would actually suggest the autobiography, um, because I think autobiography stories, it makes you feel like what you're going through, it's not just you going through it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
There's two autobiographies that I really like that are coming to mind at the moment. Um,
Tell us.
yeah, there's Kevin Hart's autobiography, which
Okay.
the guy is funny. He's hilarious. So you're just gonna have a great time with him. And he's telling his story of how he started as a child, all the way through to him being an adult and a superstar. And I go back to this book every time.
Okay.
Um, then there's Will Smith autobiography, which also is similar to Kevin Hart's one. It's also very good. And what I like about his one is it's very performative. There's like, well, I listen to the audiobooks, right? There's like background music, songs, like themes. There's so much to it. But to be honest, any autobiography, anyone who's done something great that you feel like you can relate to, just pick it up, have a read, and you won't want to put it down.
Yeah. It's again that thing about learning from people who have traveled the journey, isn't it? And you can pick up a lot of things how they've done it, and then do your own research. I think what I emphasize is not to be a follower but a student, because if you're a student, you become curious and you do your own research. So you're just not following other people, which is kind of what the other book, the first book you said about, following. You just don't have to be a follower. You can hear what someone is saying, learn what they have gone through, and pick up some lessons from that, and then personalize those things to your journey as an individual, and take it from there. So yeah, I do agree with you. I do appreciate. I guess those autobiographies are just similar to what we are doing now. Is me trying to understand your journey on of how just a normal everyday boy from Croydon can build a business from nothing to £1 million. That's a powerful journey, and if people understand that and they take some ideas from you and then implement it, then I guess we will have more millionaires very soon, isn't it?
That's the aim, we
Ah,
need entrepreneurship to be at an all-time high, and not even just black entrepreneurship, but us minorities. I feel like there's not a lot of minorities that are doing great things, and I was speaking about it. And I had the opportunity to have a conversation with one black entrepreneur who's doing absolutely phenomenal. And I
mm,
told her, if when I was struggling, I had a black entrepreneur telling me or showing me, or like, I will be so happy. And now we have like Dean Forbes,
mm.
yeah, for me, when I met the guy, I was like, whoa, like this is real.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I've met more people like that. So for me, it's almost normal, you know? Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your actual business now, because I know you're very passionate about helping people
Yeah.
to achieve their dreams, and especially in the e-commerce environment. So, can you explain a little bit more about your business?
Yeah, sure. So what we do at the moment, we have an agency. We help brands grow and scale on Amazon. So I started selling on Amazon 6 years ago. I went through a whole journey of transformation. I remember when I first started selling, within my first 2 years, I was doing 10K in a month. And I was so happy. I thought I was rich because coming from Croydon, that was like, this is real.
Yeah, that's big money.
It's been funny. I thought, Bill Gates can't even talk to me now. But
Yeah.
because I had that mindset, I unfortunately lost that money. And then I stopped doing all the things that got me there in the first place. I stopped reading. I think I probably stopped exercising. I stopped so many things that I was doing because I thought, I'm successful. Now it's time for me to go lay on the beach with my laptop and
Cute.
just enjoy life, which I did enjoy life for a fair period. But then because I had that situation, I was like, okay, you know what? In the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, he says, don't work to earn money, work to learn. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and look for someone that I can work with and that I can
Mm,
learn from. And I ended up working with this couple. They had an Amazon agency, and they opened my eyes to what was possible. They were dealing with accounts that were doing millions in sales, and in my mind, I'm thinking, this is real. People do millions in sales. Like,
mm,
mind is now expanded again. 10,000 I thought was a lot. to see 1 million, that was like
Yeah.
unreal to me. Unreal to me. I was so happy at that. Uh, uh, Fast forward, my daughter who has autism, she wasn't speaking, and I was making money. I was happy, but I don't know. It didn't feel like I was being present for her as a parent that I wanted to be. So
Mm,
me, my wife, my daughter, we just packed our bags and we left London, left the UK, and we started traveling. So we went to lots of countries in South Asia for like 6 months, and then we
mm,
finally decided to settle in Dubai. So while in Dubai, we had some connections from back in the days, the clients that we used to work with, and the people we're working with as well gave us some clients to actually go and work with. So we then started building our agency, started posting more about it, telling people about the work that we do, sharing more of the successes as well as some of our failures. And yeah, that brings us to where we are today, where we're finally able to make such big announcements that it's almost like it's a pinch me moment. Like
mm.
I think back then, like how the journey started and to where it is now, it feels unreal, but at the same time, I always knew here that I would get there. You know?
Mm.
It's very interesting, very surreal.
Yeah. So you talked about the mindset that you started working and you were making 10K and you thought you were rich.
Hmm.
What was your mindset then? Obviously, it didn't work out for you because you sound like you blew the money. What
Uh,
was the mindset?
so I think my mindset back then was, I think I was still a street kid. That I was a hustler, let's say.
Mm,
I had that hustler's mentality. It was always like, what can I grab quickly and what can I flip quickly? How
mm,
can I make some quick money? It was still like in a legal way, of course, because, I made that promise to myself. But it was always like, I wasn't building for long-term sustainability. Now, the mindset, it's very different. It's even if there's an opportunity that I can make money today, but it doesn't align with who I want to be in the long term,
okay.
or maybe I look back 5 years and I'm embarrassed, like, why did I do that? I won't do it. It doesn't matter how much it pays, I will not do
Mm,
it because my integrity and my values are not for sale. I'm building a business, I'm building a legacy, I'm building something I want to pass on to my kids. I'm building generational wealth now. Before I was just like, I just want to make money. But now I want to build a legacy. I want to build a nation. I want to build black entrepreneurship. I want that. That's what I
yeah,
want. Yeah.
that's really good. And I know from looking at your LinkedIn and how passionate you are about these things, I know you will reach a lot of people and you will change a lot of people's life just by being yourself. And I think for me, obviously, when I read the news yesterday, I started thinking, wow, okay, this guy has made it. How is he going to be? But the person that I'm talking to now, he seems so humble and so down to earth. And
Thank you.
do you have any concerns that um, money will change you?
Um, do I think money will change me? No. I mean, you know what? It's I don't necessarily think it's the money. I think it's more so social media.
Mm,
Because I have a friend and he tells me, in real life, you're a lot more livelier than you are on social media. And social media, you play very humble, you play very relaxed, you play very, like you don't want to rub people the wrong way. But
mm,
he always says to me, like, when I speak to him one to one, if I see him doing something wrong, I will tell him, I will insult him, I will insult his mom, his dad, everyone, everyone will get some.
you
But
get it.
that's because for the people that I surround myself with, I have a really high standard of what I expect from them. I have a high
Mm,
standard of what I expect from myself. And it's not up to me to go to someone and say, you do this, 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 that, because I've done this. I did it. It worked for me. If you want it, you want it. If you don't want it, you don't want it. It's that simple. Um, yeah, so I think social media and me now understanding branding, like you see guys like Andrew Tate, they just be saying any, shenanigans and they go viral. Um, I I think that's a possible path. I don't know if that's the path I want to take. I want my story to be more so like I'm your friend. You can speak to me. You
Yeah.
have any trouble, you have any issues, you can come to me. If you send me a DM, I get lots of DMs these days, but if you send me a DM, I actually want to reply. I want to reply to all my DMs, but my wife is like, "You're busy now. You have to do this. You have to do that." And I'm like, "Okay, I can't get to all of them." So then a member of the team is going to reply, or maybe I might sneak in 1 2 messages myself.
Mm.
Um, but I honestly, I love people so much. I love to have fun. I love to shake people's hands. I want to show people like this is possible. I want as many people to figure out like how they can do it too, how they can do it for themselves. Because when I was making money, one of the things that I'm used to making really sad is I don't think I'm special. I think I'm very normal. I think
Mm.
I'm normal, but a lot of people underplay what they can do and what they can accomplish in life. So I want them to know just how normal I am, especially people that have worked with me when I was at Pizza Hut or when I was at wherever, like people that have met me before. I want them to come see me now and realize, oh, although he might be a millionaire now, he's still the same guy. Nothing's changed. It's just that he's read 300 books now. It's only
Mm.
the books. All I have to do is read the books, and I can also do that. You know, I just
Mm.
want them to understand that.
Okay. Now that is powerful. You mentioned your wife.
Yeah.
What role has she played in your life? I did a solo episode last week, and I was talking about the power of just being a human being. That sometimes you meet people who will change your life forever, and some of them they will stay in your life, and some of them they just touch your life for a moment and they're gone, but they've done what they need to do for you to carry on with your life. When you think about your wife in this journey to where you are from the time you met her to where you are now, what do you think?
So when it comes to my wife, wow, um, yeah, I think she's very special. I do love her a lot.
Yeah.
She she's helped me become the person I am today, and um, I know with 100% certainty that everything that we've accomplished so far, I wouldn't be able to do without her. Um, I um, I honestly think God put her in my life, and we were meant to be on this journey together. Because even when we met, it was very interesting. Uh, I met her at university. A friend of mine introduced me to her. I was born in the Netherlands. I'm now in the UK. Then I speak to her for the first time, and she tells me she's also from the Netherlands and
Oh,
she's living in the UK as well. So I was like, oh,
meant
that's
to
interesting.
be.
Exactly. But it wasn't just that as well. It was
Mm.
now we're speaking, and I ask her, where do you live? And where she lives is literally just round the corner from where I live. So it's like a
Wow.
1 minute walk. And it's not the area in university that people will usually live. It's like on the
Mm.
outside, on the outskirts. You need to walk 30 minutes before you get to university, you know. So even that, and it was like lots of different unique things. Even when I would speak to her about my dreams and my goals of one day I'm going to be rich, one day I'm going to do this. Bro,
Mm.
in my bank account, I'm having no money.
And she knows that you don't have anything.
Exactly. But she will be like, yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do that. 1 second, my wife connected her AirPods to the. Then she's going to hear our
Yeah,
conversation.
she heard you talking about her.
But yeah, like she believed in me back when I would tell people my goals and they're like, oh, you're crazy. Oh, how are you going to do it? Oh, you're going to drop out. You're going to be poor. People are saying all of these things. My friends, family, even my parents, they didn't believe. I
Mm.
bought my products from Amazon. I had the box in my house. They asked me, are people actually going to buy this stuff? And she always believed, she always encouraged me. Moments when I felt like I'm going to quit, I'm going to give up. She was persistent. She was like, no, let's keep going. Let's keep doing this. And um, honestly, I think reading also helped me a lot because I realized one thing I had about me is I can go and learn the information and study the information, but I had this thing where like I wasn't persistent. I didn't have persistence in me. So when I met her and I realized she was a persistent person, I was like, I need you on my team, and yeah, she has been absolutely phenomenal. And she's also very spiritual. So she told me I don't like this person. I'll be like, no, they're okay. And then, you can see why she didn't like the person. They'll do something and you're like, yeah. Um,
That, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what it is, right? Sometimes you like you mentioned the ladies, they get to know, they know things that you at the time you think, oh, come on, what are you saying? And then down the line, okay, yeah, this is what she meant. And yeah, you also mentioned about faith a lot in the article that I read.
yeah.
What role has faith played for you and in building you to where you are?
Faith. So there's a one tattoo I have on my arm. It says faith. It's the only tattoo I have on my body. But it literally just
Faith.
says faith. Yeah. Um,
You know
because
what? You want to know something? I've got one as well. It just
faith,
says faith.
is
Yeah,
it?
it says
Oh
faith. Yeah,
wow, my
yeah,
brother.
yeah. There we go. There is something about faith.
So yeah, I mean the Bible, actually before I go to the Bible, I want to say human beings, a lot of the time we feel fear, but the opposite of fear is faith. And just realizing that the opposite of fear is faith, like the opposite of sadness is happiness, you
Mm,
know. And these are all the things that are on the positive side. Fear is on the negative side. But obviously, fear is there and it's there to keep you safe. But sometimes your mind is trying to keep you too safe, you
yeah,
know. But when
yeah,
you have that faith, when you take that leap, the Bible says faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. And a mustard seed, when I saw one like the other day,
mm,
so
yeah,
tiny,
yeah,
so tiny. So if all you need is a faith the size of the mustard seed, and you can say to this mountain, move, and the mountain will move. Imagine what else you can do.
yeah,
Mm. So yeah, on this journey, on this entrepreneurship journey, oh, there were so many moments where it's like, bro, this ain't looking good, man. Go get a job, bro, this ain't it. This ain't it. Bro, you was making way more money back then, you know.
mm,
But
mm,
that faith, that determination, that drive, that persistence, there's just little traits that are like on the positive spectrum of life, like even tiny habits like waking up early, drinking water, having fruits. If you keep stuck in all these positive things in your life, faith, determination, hope,
mm,
resilience,
yeah,
yeah, unstoppable.
yeah. I think it's just like with everything in life. I think they said everything is hard,
Mhm.
but you choose your hard.
100%.
Being unwell is hard. Be going to the gym is hard, but which one do you prefer? Go to the gym, and when you're unwell, your body will react better than someone who's not fit. So it's one of those things that you have to do in life. And I guess you also touched on people not believing in your dreams. And I think what I want to emphasize to people, especially young adults, getting into whatever field you're getting into, if you're getting into business, that your dream is your dream. It's your responsibility to believe in it. It's not anyone else's responsibility. But
100.
if you then get, you're blessed with someone like, you mentioned your wife who believes in your dream, that is a blessing.
Blessing.
That's a bonus, you know.
100%.
But if no one else is believing it, it's because they can't see it the way that you see it, and that's fine. And you can't blame people around you for not understanding your dream or seeing your dream, because they can't see it from your angle. It's only you who can see it from that angle. So in your case, if you had not met your wife and you had not, people around you were not believing in your dreams, from what you were telling me from a young age, I think you still would have carried on and continued following those dreams, and being your wife being on your side. And I believe, like, there's this saying that behind every successful man there's a great woman. I I don't like that saying. I think beside every successful man, there is a great woman, and that's that's how you look at it. But you also talked about your kids, and I know I've got one myself, and it changes your perspectives in life, isn't it? Like how you view life and how you navigate your things around life in general. How does that your kids, the role they play for you in everyday life?
Yeah. So my daughter Sophia, she's very special, dear to my heart,
Mm,
because we had her when we lived in a six-bedroom shared apartment or shared home. Oh, that's when we found out her mom was pregnant, and this was
mm,
once we found out that we both lost our jobs basically. So we both lost our jobs. We're about to have a daughter. Um, we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? And I think the importance of building relationships, networking is really important because there was a guy that lived in our house. He was also into e-commerce at that time, and he allowed me to come work with him. And he had a massive, massive warehouse. I still speak to the guy to this day, and I always tell him like I owe you a lot because he believed in me. He literally said, "Yeah, come down. I've got this opportunity for you. You do Amazon," because I was starting to sell on Amazon back then. And he was like, "Yeah, come through. I want you to help me with my Amazon." And I started working with him. And I worked in the warehouse. I did picking and packing. I could see how he was arranging all of the systems and everything. Um, but he gave me essentially money, capital, ideas, everything. That by the time I left him, that's when I had my 10K month because I've learned so much from him. He'd
mm,
even given me stock, his own stock for me to sell. So I was now selling lots of different items on Amazon. And around that time, my daughter was born, and I stayed at home for maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, and then after that, I was like, I can't go back to work now because she was so sweet, so lovely, and I really wanted to
yeah.
me next year every single day. Um, I think it
Mm,
was part of my initial downfall because I fell so much in love with her. It's so beautiful.
yeah.
I would pay any price to be able to have a kid and to spend time with the kid. It's a luxury, you know. And
Mm,
yeah, as I was working, and then I realized I'm making money again, more money than I ever thought. Then she's not speaking. She's got autism now. It's like it's time for me to do something for her again. The God universe is telling me, you know, this is your opportunity to grow. And I would have spent any amount of money to be able to figure out like what is going on. And as we're
mm,
traveling, as we were in Sri Lanka, in nature, I can see how much she loves nature. In Bali, she
mm,
was swimming. She is teaching herself how to swim. She has autism, so she's not speaking yet. But she's watching me and she's just copying me and she's swimming and I'm like, whoa, this girl is so smart, so amazing. And I really, in that time, started to learn about autism, how does it work, how can I support her, how can I be there for her. And yeah, so I remember as well, when I'm building the business or anything, I always think I need to do this for my children. So when I'm telling them you can do it, this is possible. It's not because, it's just a saying. It's because I have done it. I know it's possible, So don't come to me with any excuses because I will not accept your excuse. What is your excuse? And that's just how I want to keep it. That's literally how I want to keep it. And then my son was born in the UAE. He's still very young, very handsome kid. He's got this nice
yeah.
curly hair,
Mm,
always smiling, crying. He got bare teeth, walking, learning from his sister, saying so many different words. Um, yeah, they keep us on our toes. They make sure that
mm,
we're focusing on the family unit as well as building the family legacy. But yeah, my daughter inspires me. My son, he definitely brings me a lot of joy. I don't know what he's gonna do for me yet, but or what I'm gonna do for him yet. We're still working out that side of the relationship because he's very young. He's
yeah.
turning 1 next month.
Oh, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's full of energy at that age, and running around and all that. So yeah, we're
100. How
exciting
old is
time.
how old is your child?
He's 8. He's
Eight.
8.
Eight
Yeah,
years. Oh
he's a
wow.
big boy, man.
Oh
He's a
wow.
big boy.
Oh
He
nice.
keeps me busy.
Congratulations.
Trust me, he keeps me busy. So yeah, and I think from experience as well, being a dad to a boy, I think it will drive you even more
Mm.
because if you look back at your life, there are things that you don't want your son to be around. There are some areas you don't want your son to be around, and the only way you can avoid those places is if you can afford something better than you had before, when you were growing up. Um, and again, it's just the kind of life that you can give them, isn't it? So you're always going to be you wake up every morning, you see them, you always want to do better for them, and if you
Wow.
channel that energy to say, you know what, I have to work hard,
Wow.
that would do wonders for you, and that's just from my own experience. Anyway, but what I want to know now is there'll be a lot of people who'll be listening on here and they'll be thinking, wow, okay, this guy has done what he's done, he's built a business, and but really what I can say is, like, I think what I really want to emphasize is that you were working for doing Amazon work and all that, then you moved to Dubai, you started seriously your agency, and in 1 year you've managed to get it to where it's worth £1 million. That's
Mm,
correct, right?
that's right.
Okay. So I want to someone listening at the moment, and they're thinking, "Oh, I would like to do, it doesn't have to be an Amazon business, it can be any other business, but I want to start getting into business and build something for myself." What would you say are the basics that they have to think about right now that does not cost them anything in terms of money, just for them as a human being to build the foundation?
Yeah. Um, you know what? I want to give the advice from my own perspective and what has worked for me.
Mm,
Maybe I'll give another perspective after. But
mm,
for me, I knew I wanted to be a millionaire, but it wasn't like, well, actually, I tell a lie. I thought from day one when I met my wife, I was gonna make 400K that year. I did not. I did not make anything close to that. But I thought so big in that first stage, in that first instant, it almost demotivated me. But
mm,
when I realized, okay, I don't need to do this big task in one go, and I can break it down into smaller chunks, that was very helpful for me. Because when I started selling on Amazon and I made 3K, then I made 5K, then 7K, then 10K, then lose it all. Now start again working on accounts. Now we're doing 100K. Now we're working on accounts doing 1 million. Now I'm seeing accounts doing 10 million. Numbers start to feel a lot more realistic for you, you know. So I think it's the don't focus on the big picture instantly. Obviously, like have a long-term vision of where you want to be, but break that down to smaller chunks. I would say for me, I think realistically, you can go ahead and do it in 3 years if you're starting from zero and you don't know anything. You can do it in 3 years, but it's going to be the most intensive 3 years you've ever had in your whole life. If you have some experience, you can do it in 1 year, and it's going to be the most, painful year that you've ever had, but it's going to be worth it. So it really just depends on when you're starting. If you're starting from zero and you've got a 3 year timeline, I would say year one, do different jobs, but don't do jobs because you want to earn money. Do different jobs because you want to learn from the people. Like even someone like me, if someone came into my company and they said, I want to work with you and I want to learn, don't expect to be making massive salary because I'm not going to give that to you because you have no experience. But if you come to me and you say, I want to learn, maybe I'll even work for you for free, nice. But I wouldn't let you work for me for free. I would actually give you something, but you can learn every single thing I've learned and you can be around me like almost every single day, and you're picking up these little things, these little skills for 1 year, at least do that. Year two, you know, if you liked what you was doing, go ahead and figure out like, how can I do this for myself? Build up your capital, save up the money. And then year two, go ahead and do it. And then year three, you probably find your solid base, build a team, make it bigger, make it the best it can be. But yeah, it's literally the one secret I would say to anyone is if you're ever going to work, don't work because you're earning a salary. Work because you want to learn. And when you work because you want to learn, that salary doesn't mean anything. They're just going to give you more salary because they want to keep you. You're so great, you're so hungry, you just want to learn. And yeah, you just need to realize like this is the long-term vision. I'm here to learn. but this is what I want to accomplish for myself, and you get that 100% guaranteed.
Yeah. Have you heard of this guy Jim Rohn?
Yeah,
He was a motivational speaker.
love the
One
guy.
of the best thing that I heard from him is success is not something that you chase.
Mm,
Success is something that you attract by the
mm,
person you become.
mm,
And when you're saying about when you're working, think about what you're learning from there.
mm,
That gives you that mentality that you always have to be working on yourself so
100%.
that you're more attractive to opportunities
100.
along the way. People will pay for you to stay, like you said, because you're continuously working on yourself, and the value that you bring to the market goes higher and higher every time you work on yourself. So that is the best mentality when you're going into anything. I'm into I work in education at the moment. I'm in management and education at the moment. My journey was about just continuously working it to the point where people are thinking like you always put you put yourself forward for these things that you're not paid for. And I would always say to them, I know I'm getting paid for that. I'm not getting paid for that now, but I'm investing and I will get the benefits. And every time an opportunity comes up, I'm ready for it because I've been working and going up, the extra mile. And I think that's an approach that is missed a lot, especially in young adults, where the focus, like I want to make as much money as I can, as quick as I can, but you're forgetting about that company can go down today and it can close today, um, and you'll have to start again in terms of like, okay, I have to find another job, and are you going to be of the same value that you were in the other company? But if you start continuously work on yourself, you go with the experience, isn't it? If you leave that organization now, you're gonna go with that experience, and your value gets higher and higher every time you work on yourself. So I guess that's why you're always reading 300 books. That's crazy. I thought I was a reader, but 300 books, I'm nowhere near that at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, 300 is a nice number to have.
Yeah,
I think there's still so much more for me to learn and for me to educate myself on. And
yeah,
learning learning is fun. When you learn the things that you want to learn, yeah, it's very fun.
yeah. All right, I'm curious though. Success does not come without disappointments, without pain.
Yeah.
What's one thing, or whatever you want to tell us that you have sacrificed during your journey?
One thing I think about, and sometimes I'm a bit sad about it, is that me building all of this wealth and everything, I almost got to a point where I built a wall around myself. Because
Mm,
when you said I could have built it without my partner, I was thinking the only way I could have built it without my partner is if I built a wall around myself and I go in there and I just study and I just learn and I just obsess over the thing. That's the only way I could have done it without her. With her, we built a wall around ourselves and we studied and we learned and we obsessed together.
yeah,
And I think because of that, a lot of friends or relationships or things that I once had, I I don't have them as much anymore. One of my best friends from back in the days, we used to go to the chicken shop every Friday and we would have so much fun.
yeah.
It was like a £2 meal and we would sit there eating it. It's like a rich life. It felt
Chicken
so good
wings.
back then. I used to tell it back in the days, oh, we're going to be millionaires. And I was actually listening to Jim Rohn back then as well.
Mm,
Yeah. And he messaged me today and he's like, yo, bro, congratulations. Like, you're so inspiring and everything. And to me, I love it, but I also realize that a lot of those deep friendships I kind of left behind because I realized that if I want to grow and I want to be who I want to be, yeah,
have to
I've got to go.
sacrifice.
Yeah. And
Mm.
yeah, it's
And
only
it's
now.
not easy.
Sorry, go on.
It's not easy, is it?
Nah, nah, it's definitely not easy. I mean, I haven't been back to London yet, but I want to I want to have a dinner and a celebration where I bring all these people and I show them like this is possible. Like I want you to do it too. Like I want it for you as
Mm.
bad as I want it for me, you know. And yeah, I think yeah, that honestly for me, like friends, family that I really wish like could be on a journey with me and they're not. That I think is like one of my biggest pain points. But this is my first year of being a new man.
Say, don't shy away from it. This is your first year of being.
This is my first year. I'm trying to stay humble, you get me?
Say,
Um,
man.
thank
That's the only way it becomes real.
yeah, no, I'm a humble millionaire, let's say. That's the name I'm gonna
There
go
we
with.
have it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wanna show people it's possible. I wanna bring them on a journey. I wanna create a team of millionaires.
yeah,
Because I know by me helping other people is the only way that I can even help myself do more, be more, and change the world.
yeah. Perfect. No, that is amazing, man. Honestly, it's very motivating to see and talk to someone like you, and it's motivating for me as well. And the reason I also do this is for me. I like to learn, and I like to connect with people, learn from people, connect with people, build relationships and friendships, and those connections, they you don't know where they take you. So, and I'm sure there's some people that you've connected with along the way, like you said, your friend who gave you, introduced you to the Amazon, and you started working for him and all that. That is a connection that changed the direction of your life, and you learned a lot from those connections. So, I guess what I'm asking is, what's the role of networking in a process like this?
Right. Mhm. Honestly, I think networking, people often think I'm gonna meet this person and this person is gonna change my life. But you are the person who is gonna change that person's life, and then they're gonna help you with that. Don't go with your hand out
Mm,
expecting. Go with your hand out offering help, and by offering help and being valuable to that person, they're going to see the value in you and they're going to want to invest in you and they're going to want to push you
mm,
to the next level. But a lot of people go to people networking like, hey, what can you do for me? And, as soon as you figure out, oh, the person can't do anything for me, oh, useless, throw them away, you know. But mm-mm. Go
yeah,
give, even if it's a homeless person, go give, even if it's someone you don't think you're gonna get anything back from them, go give. Obviously, if there's something in it for you, that's good. That's even better. If there's nothing in it for you, I always say to my wife, I don't expect the reward from the person. I know my reward is gonna come from God above. So whatever I gave to them and they didn't give back to me, that's not my problem. As long as I was a good person and I gave, you know.
yeah.
So,
My dad used to say the process of giving, the act of giving, starts the process of receiving. So the
100,
moment you give, you automatically start the process of receiving. It
100%.
might not be straight away, but it's coming.
100%.
So I like it when when you say always think about what you can do for other people, what you can give, what you can contribute, and the rest is just a natural reaction of life, isn't it? It's just gonna happen because you're giving and you're giving, you're putting yourself out there and you're giving. It's gonna come back to you in one way or another. So yeah, I like that a lot. Um, any final thoughts that or advice that you would like to give um, anyone really, especially young adults looking and reading your story now and thinking, well, one day I want that to be me.
I would like to say a special thank you to like all the black entrepreneurs who've come before me and who've done it. Timothy Army, I saw his story. I was very inspired by him. Dean Forbes, I saw his story, very inspired by it. Tim Campbell, I met the guy one time and I was like, this guy is next level. And
Mm,
I want to say thank you because when I listen to their stories and I look at their background and I see where they come from, and I actually realize like I don't think these guys are any smarter than me. I don't think they're any different than me. I don't think they're anything but I don't think they're anything special. But the one thing I realized about Timothy Army is like I could tell this guy has read more books than me.
Yeah.
I could just sense it. Like whenever the guy speaks, I can just sense like this guy is quoting this book, then he's quoting that book, and then he's
Mm.
talking about this concept and that concept. And these are concepts I don't know. But when he mentions the book and the reference from it, I'm like, I need to read that. I need to read that. I need to study that. I need to study that. And yeah, just through learning, studying, understanding different concepts of how the world works, there's a lot you can do. And Dean Forbes, especially as well. I when he got on social media, I could see him in the morning. He'll wake up, he'll go for a run, then he'll be in the gym, then he'll do swimming, then he'll spend time with his son, his kids, and he'll run his business. Like the habits. This guy is so rich. Why is he waking up in the morning to go for a run, to go swimming, to go to the
Yeah.
gym? Like, what are you after? But it's like I spoke to him and he said, there's still numbers on the scoreboard that I haven't hit yet. And
Mm.
that motivates me. Yeah, it makes sense. There's still targets that we need to set for ourselves, that we need to have for ourselves when we do accomplish success. And it all starts by investing in ourselves. Read the books, go to the gym, the simple foundational things, do them consistently, and your life will never be the same.
Jason, thank you very much for your time. And I've I've taken away a lot from our conversation, and I hope for those who are listening, you understand that it is really on you to start working on yourself to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. You have to set the goals for yourself, and you have to go to work, listening to people who have traveled the journey and are on the other side now. And I think it's not just about listening to podcasts or reading books, like Jason said. It's about applying those things that you're reading and you're listening to, applying them to everyday life, and understanding that you have to learn. And sometimes you will learn and you will not get paid for it, but you are investing your time, you're investing, and you're taking away the knowledge and the experience that will pay off uh, a year down the line, 2 years down the line. So it's not all lost when you're not paid. And Jason talked about giving, when you go networking, thinking about not just receiving, but okay, what can I go and give? What value can I add to um, this event? Although I'm not getting paid, maybe it's a charity event. You go and you help to organize the event. What are you learning from it? Those are the things that we have to start thinking about when we are interacting with people, when we are in our everyday workspace. Really, at work, there are things that you can do above and beyond that you will not be paid for, but you walk away with the experience that you need for the next opportunity that comes, you know, down the line. So, Jason, thank you very much. I will continue sharing, following your story, and I've got this sense that this is just the beginning of your journey, and I know that you started it, some time ago in Croydon and all that, but from the news that came out yesterday, where you are with your organization, and me talking to you today, I feel like there is more to come, and I really would like to sit down with you again, maybe in a year or so, to see where things are. And I've got a really, really good feeling that things would have multiplied. And you know what, I wish that for you as well, because I think you have the right energy and that right mentality in terms of bringing people with you to the top, which is something that we don't really see that often with people. People have made it, and they move away. I understand the need to live accordingly. Okay, I'm not going to expect someone who's who's really made it to be, living around the corner in Croydon. No, and that's not what we're looking about. We're talking about, but having that sense, what I get from me is that the understanding that yes, okay, I've crossed the river. How can I now bring, do build a bridge for others to cross, maybe not facing as too many challenges as you faced, and that is something that we don't get from a lot of people. I did tell you earlier on that I thought after this news, this guy is not coming to the podcast. He's not coming to join me. Why is he got to gain from this? So I really appreciate it
Same.
that you spare some time, and we discussed, and yeah, I think it's amazing. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in everything that you're going to do, man.